Means is called to order. Human Resources called to order. Taking notes, Mr. Bowman. Thank you. Everybody have agenda?
Passing on now.
Take a look at number 18. Since it was just done, can I have a motion for the consent agenda? Bernie and Kurt, is there any more discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. We have Tim with us. Can you talk to us about the contract with Nancy Stormer and Whitman, Osterman, and Anna for Medicaid reimbursement?
Sure. What that basically is a reinstatement of a contract that we've had over the past few years where we were recovering portions of Medicaid overburden from the Department of Health. I believe we had almost $3 million total collections back over that. This is Nancy's proposal to expand that. She's broadening her scope on this a little bit. She's partnered with this other law firm. The big thing here is I spoke with her yesterday, as a matter of fact. She, on its face, sees a couple $100,000 available, but I guess we all should remember that's what she saw in the beginning of the prior contract too. It ended up being almost $3 million. So until you start peeling the layers of the onion off, I think that's what happens. So she has proposed this contract to litigate it. No contingency. It's a pay if she is successful. 64% to the county, 36% to her, and the two law firms will work that out amongst themselves.
So she feels that she can recover money.
She's very confident.
It is contingent.
It is contingent.
Pardon?
It is contingent. She
Right.
has no fee if she recovers.
There's no fee, correct.
That's good. It is contingent.
Okay, I apologize.
Now, this was one of the concerns we had, that was going to be going away, but she's looking at things.
She's looking at some constitutional issues, some issues with a new population, okay, and some things that might have been missed with the Medicaid cap.
Okay. Sounds great.
I would just throw out there that there's Schuyler County, Columbia, Greene, Niagara, St. Lawrence, Chautauqua, and Chemung are the ones that I'm aware of that are already involved in this.
Are they involved with her?
Correct.
It's probably going to be leaner than it's been in past years. She might get something.
Yeah, but we thought,
We thought it was gone.
discussing our budget, that there wasn't going to be any.
And Mr. Chairman, we don't have the ability to do it ourselves at all. Directly? I mean, I don't know what, she reviews all the cases? I mean, how does she get her data? From us?
She gets her, she gets our data from us, our office, her data from our office or from mental health and from the various institutions. And I will tell you that the majority of this has been litigated as high as the appellate court, so I don't know. I think that's where we got our money.
And there's no HIPAA violations on us sharing it with an outside contractor like that?
Okay, I'll make a motion, Ways and Means.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on Human Resources, Gene and Mr. Shaw.
All in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed?
All in favor of Human Resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What else do we have for you on here, Tim?
Nothing on order.
Authorized extension of part-time position for Medicare billing, is that? I guess we're done with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And of course, that contract that we just approved will go to the county attorney first, make sure everything's in order.
What would be the effective date? No, I'm just curious. We're not in one right now. We don't have a contract with her for right now.
We've had one with her in the past to cover the overburden, but I don't know. I assume this covers other things.
Christina? Hello. Do you have a copy of the agenda? Or where do you want to start? I'm worried because Jim's not in here.
Okay.
So I thought there was something simpler.
I actually went ahead and tried to kind of make some semblance of order out of the randomness of the things that we're going to be discussing.
Okay.
So if that would help you all. You're welcome. Because I know it's hard to just kind of jump in halfway through. Do you want me to wait for Mr. Wallace? Absolutely.
Why don't we just take a few minutes as long as we're waiting and take a look at these charts and stuff that she has, so. Read anything. I just saw some of this yesterday for the first time, so.
Calculators on our phones.
Well, you got your chart down there that you're looking for. Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about staffing, number one on your outline.
So what I basically provided you all with is our current staffing structure, just to give you an idea of how it's currently set up. And then the green one is actually what I'm proposing, which does have some changes that you will find then on the third page listed on that summary chart, which is basically eliminations that are being proposed. Office Assistant 1, we're going to merge those duties with one of an existing clerk, so that should just be absorbed. Proposing to eliminate the Assistant Director position, which is currently vacant. There's also a vacant LPN position that we're going to go ahead and propose to be eliminated, as well as the Supervisor of Programs for Children with Special Needs position. Okay, and I listed their current salaries just to give you kind of an idea. And then just as far as some slight alterations to existing staff go, we're going to go ahead and propose that the salary for the supervising community health nurse actually be decreased from the $47,536 base to $45,000. And then we're actually going to, we have to maintain our Director of Patient Services position until the closure of the child long-term care. I'm sure you all have been very familiar with that. When that is effective, we are proposing to go ahead and basically swap that out for a supervising community health nurse position. And again, you can see the current salary and the proposed change to that.
So we're going to eliminate, you want us to eliminate an office assistant, the Assistant Director of Public Health, which we just, an LPN, which is currently vacant, Supervisor of Programs for Children with Special Needs. And the changes would be a supervisory community health nurse, at a different base, Is there anybody in that position now?
Yes. I don't, anybody else have?
And the Director of Patient Services. You said we need that through the closure, but then what's your recommendation after that?
That be switched to another supervising community health nurse.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, I'm sure there's questions. Yeah.
Just in the eliminations, so the first one, that office assistant, is not in the budget, so that's not really
Correct.
savings. The others are currently in the budget for going forward for 2013?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then if I get down to the changes, the supervising community health nurse. Changing the base, and it's an existing thing, are there labor issues with that? Oh, that's salary schedule 2, so we can do that because it's salary schedule 2. And we justify changing the salary based on that because of the change in duties?
Mr. Wallace, have you had a chance to digest this at all? I know it's...
This morning, no, but for the last couple of weeks, absolutely. Steve and I and Christina have met several times. I think we've seen probably 3 or 4 renditions, and I think Christina's probably done 10 or 15 renditions. She's worked very, very hard on this to provide what she believes is the services, the staff to be available. It probably is close to the best as we can and still provide the service that we need to provide, and to be able to do all the reports that need to get into the state, both from a programmatic level and also especially a financial level.
So your suggestion is that it looks pretty good?
You know, we're in very difficult times, Mr. Russell, and I think this is the best proposal that the 3 of us could come up, you know, working with Christina, to do the best that we could do to put forward before you today.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate that effort. Any other guests?
I see the office assistant elimination, and it's currently not filled. One of the conversations that I've had concerns about and I brought up here is our being behind in billing. And Jim, you had somebody coming in to go over that with us on one aspect of billing, and then whether there was another bigger issue of billing. I'd like a sense of how this, does this have any impact on billing? There doesn't seem to be any clerical attention.
I like the opportunity, Helen, to address that. Thank you for asking that. We had Christina, myself, Bernie, and probably 5 or 6 staff members had a meeting. Also with Mr. Seymour was with us, also as any expertise he could lend to us on the Medicaid issue. We were able to bring the person in from Madison, Oneida County BOCES about a week ago, who kind of is, and again, helps local people within her region be able to do the Medicaid billing. I think we all left that meeting very positive that we'll be able to go after an awful lot of that billing. I feel very comfortable. I had one brief conversation with Mr. Russell. A county like Lewis County just said, no, the hell with it, we're not going to chase this money. But I think working with Luann and Kim and Sue, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but the whole staff, that I think we'll be able to go back and get an awful lot of that. Also, Dr. O'Keefe and I we're trying to set up a meeting with Dr. Brighton or Britton. And now Christina's trying to do that same thing. There's a smaller one.
Okay.
I think it was like 10,000. I believe in my records that I have all the letters that were sent on time, because they didn't act for 8 months. It's not our mistake. We believe it's their mistake, and I still strongly say it's their mistake. So on those 2 levels, I feel pretty good. We set up some timetables, and when we need to get on a bigger issue, which is the Medicaid reimbursement, which is very difficult.
That's how much, is that a lot of money? How much is
That's
that?
probably, I'm going to say 200,000 to 300,000.
And we would expect to know whether we're successful in doing what we need to do. How will we measure that?
I think we'll have a pretty good feel for that in a month or 2. We have 4 more months to get all that in.
So it could be in jeopardy if we don't pull the rabbit out of the hat.
We have 4 months.
Okay. What about the person that was coming in from Albany? to review, that was that?
That was the lady.
Was that the 50,000 or 40,000, 10,000? What
That was both of them.
Both of them. And so their help, whoever that lady was is also?
She's been very helpful.
I just hope that we keep.
Christine, I don't know if you have any thoughts or.
No, I mean, I think the biggest goal is to be going forward to make sure that we can kind of catch up on what we've been lagging behind on, and then once we kind of clear that, moving forward should be a lot smoother.
Will we be able to do this with existing staff and no overtime, or are we going to be running overtime?
I believe we may need some overtime once we identify everything in a very short term. But when you're looking to try to get back this 200,000 or 300,000, I think it's very important. We're trying to identify that. The staff is trying to grab everything that they have. Now, all the crazy little things that we need to be able to submit the billing. So they're working on that. Once we have that, Christine and Steve and I will sit down again and come back to the committees and possibly let you, well, number one, let you know where we are, and then number two, let you know if we need any help.
So I guess me more graphic, seeing United Way, or you're getting your fundraisers and there's a barometer showing me. Will we be able to get updates along the way to say, not 200,000, not much?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I would think within 2 months we'll have a pretty good idea.
Thank you.
And also, I'm sorry, to answer the second step, I think with the way Christina's going to align her staff, it's going to take that. I think going forward, we're going to be okay. And I think we're okay this year. I think our real concern now is trying to go back that 11-12 school year.
Is there anybody like that Nancy Stormer around who could do that for this department?
Then I emailed, and Christina did with her group, and all my buddies are struggling.
I mean,
A couple of them, and we've talked about it, there's an $80,000 software program out there. We're just not convinced
That's going to do it.
that's going to do it. I mean, would it be a help, if you're Westchester or...
Are there counties, though, that are currently using something like that allow you to?
The Westchesters, the Onondagas, but they also have all the staff and more, way more staff than we do.
Maybe a shared service
agreement up here.
Christina, so you're saying...
I tried to take the bias one time.
Let's go here.
I'm sorry, Pat. With this
Hang on a
setup
second,
here...
Bob, because Bruce had his hand up.
Yeah, so you're gonna have one layoff here?
2.
Okay. At the end of the year?
No.
Yeah, not necessarily. As far as the office assistant 1 position, that had been slated to go, I think, in the previous iteration that you all had seen. So that one is kind of a carryover.
Right.
Whereas the supervisor of children's programs, that's the new.
That's the one I was talking about. That's at the end of the year?
No, I don't believe that will be the case.
Okay.
As far as timeline goes.
I was looking at the earliest would be January 31st, the earliest, but we need
Yeah, that would be
to come back to
probably
that.
safe.
Because we're still trying to clear up some questions, Bruce,
Yep.
with the state on a DPS or no DPS. I apologize, I wasn't here for the first part of this. Whether we would need that for another month or not. Christina and I and Tim and his staff and Christina's staff is trying to make sure we got the 6 people buttoned up for the long-term care program.
Sure. I'll make the motion, Pat, while I've got the floor.
Okay, his motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Bernie, Bob, did you have a question?
No, my question was, with your staffing like this, we're not going to have the problem that we have had in the past with the billing. And that's what Jim was saying. I think Jim was referring to that when he said, we need to move forward. And you don't think that there's going to be a problem with the educating your people, keeping up to more up to date than what it was in the previous?
I'm very confident that, we're going to have to backtrack a little, which is never easy because you've got your current workload and then you're adding stuff on to try and catch up from where you were. However, the restructuring that we're doing is going to make things a lot more streamlined, which should actually allow time for training that needs to happen in order to facilitate getting this billing going and then progressing at a rate that should catch us up, and then we should be good to roll in present time.
Wasn't this,
Thank
Jim,
you.
some problems over the state? I mean, it wasn't all...
Yeah, the Medicaid stuff with the state was crazy. They implemented some changes on the Medicaid portion around 9/1, 9/2 of 11. They came out with their manual April of 2012. So, I mean, those are the things that we kind of deal with that stuff in-house almost all the time, Pat, but you know, if somebody from the outside came into government, sometimes I think they'd go crazy. No, really, I mean, because you would think you'd have a month or two with a program this big across New York State. We have the biggest program in the country, that we would at least see something ahead of time. They're supposed to be taking over the billing for EI January 1st. Just got the notification within the last week, maybe in August, maybe in April.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
No, but these are the kinds of things we deal with the state.
I just don't want.
It makes it tough.
I just don't want people to come out of this meeting and think that something happened with our employees, public health, you know, that they didn't do their job, because the fact is that there's issues with the state regulations and how things are gonna be handled, and they thank you for, you know, getting a good handle. But,
Where
like
are we,
Jim said,
Tom?
government.
Where are we? Is it closed? When is it gonna be closed? Does anybody know?
We have a letter saying it's gonna close 12/31. However, Christina and Tim and the staffs were on a conference call within the last weekend that said they may be pushing that out to 1/31. 5 of the staff should be transferred satisfactorily before the end of the year to other providers.
By the staff and the patients.
And 5 patients will be transferred by the end of the year. 1 is in question. And that may push us into, that's why we're talking about the whole issue with
So it's a matter of finishing out a service need with patients
yes.
that's delaying the closure.
Even though we had a letter last week saying you're all approved, you're closed December 31st.
But the staff layoffs went forward anyway,
Yes.
so we have that savings.
Christina's dealing with that issue too.
Motion at your resource.
Your second,
You got a question? Mr. Matt's got a question. How is that going to allow more cross-training within the department? So we're not stuck with one person retires, we got to hire them part-time to teach somebody else? Is that restructuring going to implement more of that cross-training?
It will in a couple different ways, but the first one being that right now we have people not necessarily adhering strictly to their job titles, which maybe not fulfilling the entire capacity of what they were hired to do. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that duties are delegated in such a way that they are, and we are, getting the maximum efficiency and just appropriate work out of each employee. In addition, they, just as kind of a cohesive group, I sat down and talked with every single staff member individually and as a group, just to kind of see how things were going. And everybody seems to think that if we can take a little bit of time and get the appropriate training, that they should be able to handle things with very little problem in the long run.
Yeah.
We have some people that we've brought in from other places to help train, or retirees that we've brought back. Are they still in this mix?
1 will be yes.
Or a retiree, or from other places?
It's the next.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Could I ask Jim, Jim, how are we working with each other? What is it, 100,000 that they're going to pay us? Is that
150. They're still online to pay that.
They're still online. What? The first of the year?
As soon as we're closed.
As soon as we're closed.
As soon as we're closed, we'll have the check.
That ought to be a photo op.
Okay, any other questions on the proposed changes to public health staffing, number 2 on our agenda?
Yeah, I would just like to offer a comment, if I might, that with Christina being an acting director of public health, to come forward with these kinds of proposals, I know that I don't often can be perhaps a needle. I just think that it's courageous, and I think that she worked well, it appears, with Jim and with Steve, in order for us to implement changes when you're the acting. And I think probably very respectful of if anybody else were to come in and take over, that we're still creating a department or massaging the department into something that can transfer well or be managed well. And I think that's very positive what happened here. Thank you.
Well, thank you, we do too, that's why we did our homework and suggested Christina for the job, so. Motion in Ways and Means, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Human Resources, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next on the agenda is authorize extension of part-time position for Medicare billing.
Okay, so that one is the bottom of the sheets I gave to you, but basically, that is a previously passed resolution that I'm going to be asking to extend because, and I stuck the previous resolution in your packet as well. You can see that it ends December 31st. I believe what happened is that there was the intention, and you all were kind of discussing, for this person to go ahead and train someone to take over in their stead during this part-time temporary position, and I think with the discussion of the closure of the child long-term care, it just never got done because it was kind of like they're going to close any day now, and it just kind of went on and on at that point. The two things that we utilize this employee for are the Medicare billing for child long-term care as well as flu billing under the current structure, which does not include something we're going to talk about in a little bit, which is an immunization billing service. But we'll get to that part. There is a significant amount of money that she bills for. I mean, it's usually a couple $1,000s, maybe $4,000 for the Medicare portion for child long-term care services, and then there's like $14,500 from last year's flu billing that she's giving us. So it is a worthwhile position to maintain. And we're going to be asking that we extend for another year, although I don't expect we will actually utilize her for the full year. She's gone for like a 3-month period right around March. So hopefully most of this billing should be completed at that point, because if the closure of the child long-term care goes through, then that should kind of seal the deal with that. We can finish that up. And then as far as flu billing goes, there's a whole new billing structure for immunizations that we're going to talk about next that probably is going to make her irrelevant as far as being necessary for the billing.
But for now, you need this part-time position before we implement it.
Yeah.
Kurt, I'll wait for it. For a second, Ways and Means?
I'll second it. Is it fair to say it only lasts a year?
Mr. Hendrick, seconded by Mrs. Manini.
Yeah, just for the year. Kurt, Dennis?
I got London.
Will this be a resolution, Jim?
Yes.
Can we have a sunset that sunsets at the end of 2013?
Sure.
Yeah, the dates were in it. From last time it was from January 2012, December 31st, 2012. Same hourly rate and everything, which was $17.36, not to exceed 19.5 hours per week. And you expect the funding, the maximum funding expenditure to be the same? Okay. All in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All in favor, Human Resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Advertising the bids for a billing service?
Okay, so that's what we were just referencing with that possibly making the part-time person irrelevant in the future, is I gave you all a copy of the letter we got from the state basically saying that as of October 1st, where beforehand we had basically been giving any person 18 years or younger free immunizations, flu, childhood vaccinations, out of our Vaccines for Children grant that we get that's federally and state funded, is going to be changing, has changed now, October 1st, where we're no longer allowed to pay for these vaccines and absorb the cost through the grant for people with private insurance. So basically the state said, we're giving free vaccines to everyone 18 and under. Why are we doing that if they have insurance? We want the insurance companies to pay, which makes a lot of sense, really. However, it does complicate things. So we actually have to buy 2 lots of vaccines now. We have to buy our grant-funded lot, and we're going to have to buy private insurance lot, and we can't cross those serial numbers or tracked. It's a big deal. So basically, in order to now bill for these insurance reimbursements, we're going to have to try and send out bids for billing service providers. So that's kind of what we're asking for as the first step, just to investigate, you know, who's available in the area, what the costs are, et cetera.
Okay. Would that be an RFP, Jim, or?
Yes. No, it would be a bid, I'm sorry, Pat.
Are there entities out there?
Yes.
Oh.
Which weighs heavier, the grant vaccine or the private insurance vaccine? Which do you buy more of? How do you know?
We have kind of been tracking, and actually since October 1st, up until now, we have had a lot of very unhappy residents from Herkimer County coming in and finding out that they have to basically pay up front for the vaccine and just hope that, you know, they're going to get reimbursed because we can't currently bill. Oneida County actually is utilizing a billing service with a lot of success apparently, and getting a fair amount of revenue from what I've heard. And they're doing everything pretty successfully right now. So
who's dictating you have to keep it separate, the state or the private insurance? So I think we should do it, but we ought to send something off to our state senator and assemblyman saying, what kind of nonsense is this? To force that whole separate kind of process and inventory and everything. They're nuts.
Who gets the revenues? The county get the revenues on this?
yeah.
I mean, the person giving the injection, the entity giving the injections.
Yeah, and the way some of these billing services charge can be dependent on volume, so transaction fees, and then usually there's some kind of overhead percentage that's just charged from overall revenue gain, and then the county would get the residual.
Could we enter into a contract with, as an example, I walked into Rite Aid and got my flu shot. Could we enter into a contract with Rite Aid to provide immunization and not do it at all? And say we're providing it because we're providing it through an established community resource. And then you don't bill, you don't do anything, do you?
I believe that even though immunizations is a mandated service, that mandated services can be contracted out. However, the logistics of that and what that would entail, I honestly couldn't even speak to at this point.
We got to create new animals for the stuff that they foster on us.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she'll look into that now. Okay, Ways and Means, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We didn't have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I did call for that, not for this one. All right, need a motion for the bids.
So moved. Second.
Further done?
Motion for human resources, Lenny and Gene again.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All in favor of human resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
New contract for early intervention.
That's basically just the request for approval to again enter into our annual contract for grants with the state regarding early intervention.
Get our money from the state.
Motion on both.
Is there a second? Ways and Means?
I'll second, Ways and Means.
Because I'm,
Wait a second.
Second, human resources.
This is an overwhelming state mandate.
Wouldn't it like it?
Period.
Alan?
hopefully this will be absorbed here. When I look at the staffing, the current organizational chart and then the proposed organizational chart, the children program supervisor, how is that absorbed in this chart? Because I don't see it.
So that was one of the proposed eliminated positions.
Oh, did I see that? I don't see it on this list. Do I?
It's the bottom of the top portion.
Oh, direct, the bottom of the top. Okay, thank you very much. Got it.
All in favor, Ways and Means? All in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All in favor for human resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approve the factor increase in rabies program. Sort of ran out of money here.
Well, apparently we jumped the gun a little bit about projecting costs for next year because we only had data up to a certain point of this year and we hadn't really spent a whole lot. Since then, we have actually provided this prophylaxis for a number of people that had been not expected. So we just wanted to bump that number up for next year to make sure that we have appropriate resources, because this is such a vital service to the community.
And over the years, Pat, this has gone from 0 to 20,000, so it's one of those things we just don't know. And I think Christina saw it and she brought it forward.
I hope it stays 0 for the sake of the person.
For the following year, absolutely.
You need a motion? Motion. Kurt, Bernie,
Motion human resources, you get it. Jimmy and Fred.
all in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
All in favor for human resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approve HMO contract for mental health. Thank you, Christina. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Sounds like you get it.
Nice job.
In a hurry.
We have to mandate. We're mandated. All Butler and Sewer.
Approve HMO contract for mental health.
Yeah, this is a contract that is having with APS Healthcare and all those CDPHP, basically to allow them to bill this insurance company for people who have this insurance. It's a supplemental to medicine.
Need the approval? Okay. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor, Ways and Means?
Motion for human resources. Lenny, second. Fred. Lenny. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Again, that's nothing but a request to get reimbursement from a third party for,
Somebody's coming in, then we're trying to get the money back for the service.
yeah.
Approve increase in hours for physician and mental health.
Yeah, this is something we talked about at our, I think one of our meetings when Ed came in, but for some crazy reason, I didn't have a vote sheet on it myself, I missed it. And we kind of approved it, but we never really voted on it, so I thought I should bring it back here. This is where he's asking to employ Dr. Patil up to 36 hours versus the 27 hours that we had before.
Is there a motion?
What is the increase in hours again?
From 27 to 36. The budget, we have it in the budget. We have the money in the budget, but we just didn't, I didn't catch this. Yep.
Do it that same rate?
What's that?
The extra hours would be the same rate?
Yes, 125 an hour.
Is that a contract with him? He's not an employee?
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
So, I'll move it.
Second?
I'll second it.
Ways and Means, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion for human resources. Lenny. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Who did, Glenn?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
We did number 8.
Okay.
Soil and Water Conservation District, Ernie wanted.
Yes, last time when Ted came in regarding the soil and water budget, I guess there were some questions. There was a requested increase, and I guess some people didn't feel that they understood what was happening with it, whatever else. So today, Ted's came back in. He thought he'd try to explain it. And Cliff Frazier also came in with Ted. Cliff is the Associate Environmental Analyst for New York State Soil and Water, and possibly he can assist Ted. Maybe we can get a better idea of what he's trying to do. Look at agriculture. Well, actually, not soil and water doesn't just deal with agriculture. It's dealing with the municipalities or whatever else. And what's been happening in the last couple of years, our NRCS has been cutting back on that. So a lot more responsibility been moved over to our soil and water units, which, like I say, deal both with our agriculture and our municipalities. And a lot of the things that they're dealing with are requirements set by DEC and whatever else, and they have to, by picking up some of these services that maybe are let go in other areas, if we can assist them. In this case, we're looking for a program change, not a program change, but say possible increase. A lot of these services for this municipality and our agricultural people can be heard. Agriculture in Herkimer County is our largest industry. I know Pat says tourism, but New York State agriculture is our.
You're talking about New York State versus county.
Well, no, but county also. I know you and I don't argue all day about that, but that's beside the point.
According to the numbers.
And Pat, I think Cliff's
State,
gonna,
yes, not county.
I think Cliff's gonna explain the reimbursement program that will get the money back if we spend it.
We get all the money back.
Well, Cliff's gonna explain it.
Hopefully.
Okay.
They would understand.
Go ahead.
Do you guys, I don't know, would it be best if maybe we'll move up to the table up front or whatever?
I've got some information, there's a sheet that Cliff is going to cover. Then I've got two budget scenarios, because we paid the question about, if we could spend more money now, how it would affect next year. There's the Cliff. I'll keep one of these. There's the full budget request. Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then there's the budget and the effect, and this may demonstrate also how well the reimbursement system works. If we were to get a supplemental appropriation now so we can make some expenditures, this is how it would affect our bottom line for 2013.
Well, I'm concerned how it's going to affect our bottom line, to be honest.
So, is it okay if we come up front, or you want to read from here? You want to go over your sheet there?
I was just going to answer any question then.
Oh, okay.
Got extra sheets, or are they passing them?
They're going around.
That's how long you don't even know.
Well, I guess.
Hang on, let's make sure that everybody's got. Everybody's got. I don't have anything. Jim have anything? Jim have anything?
No.
Pete, are there any more? Rob, I can share.
Can I have another copy? Did you get it, Peter? Can I make a copy of yours, please?
Sorry. Okay, this is the budget proposal we had for 2013. It reflects us being eligible this year for approximately $47,000 in New York State reimbursement with our present expenditures that we have made during 2012. You have to understand that the reimbursement is reimbursement for what you spent last year. The bottom line on this budget is $162,966. That is a comprehensive budget. It includes our AEM assistant, which we need our AEM assistant to take advantage or gather that $40,000 of AEM, which is Agriculture Environmental Management. That is reimbursed at the rate of $37 per hour to the district. To get to $40,000, you have to expend about 1,100 hours. And the advantage of that is that pays for a person for the whole year. Because now you can pay them
right now, our contracted person, we're paying $15 an hour. So if he works a whole year, he would work $30,000 worth, and we would be reimbursed $40,000. So you're still actually making $10,000 on that. I would like to expand the program to be able to give that person benefits. Every hour, the reason we've only qualified for $47,000 is last year we had the emergency program from the hurricane Lee, the tropical storm Lee, and Jerry Smithson, our technician, and I worked quite a bit of time on the AEM program. So what that does, basically we had $20,000 reimbursable through the AEM program, but when you took it into the Part A, then you lost that money from eligibility for Part A. And that is where the AEM program is a great program, and it's designed to get more work done in the counties. You can't really take advantage of it if you don't have a big enough program or enough staff to do things. Cliff, if you'd like to go through that reimbursement.
Well, basically, all the money available to the county through the state reimbursement program, the very first one is a $60,000 reimbursement. That used to be $30,000. And in order to get that, you have to show an expense of, at the $60,000 rate, you got to show an expense, technical assistance value of $120,000. So Ted and Jerry and Jeff can't qualify for that, but there's got to be technical assistance to the people of the county. So at that rate, at the $60,000 rate, you got to do $120,000 worth of technical assistance. If you don't have the staff to do that, you can't qualify for the full 60. The next program we had was the.
Hang on a second. How do you get to $120,000?
What's that?
You got to show technical assistance value of $120,000. What are you showing right now?
Well, that would have been the combined wages and other qualifying expenses at the district. Your wages, your benefits, vehicles, all that type of thing.
And you qualify for the 120 now?
No, we are. We're only qualifying for $47,000 this year. 47.
So you want us to spend more money so we can qualify? Is that what this is?
Yes, sir.
You're getting reimbursed for it. You're getting it back.
Dollar for dollar.
The program is more than dollar for dollar.
So 50 cents on a dollar. So you want to invest X amount of money to get 50 cents back?
Part of what
Yes.
the program was I was at yesterday, Pat, is this qualifying of regionalization money out of the state. And I can tell you just, nobody made the statement, but summarizing, these guys are going to have more responsibility going forward with less people to do it.
With all due respect, I've heard that for about 12 years now.
Well, it's going to happen.
Okay, 12 years from now, because it hasn't happened yet. Where?
The only way they can get this money
It's to spend it.
is to spend it.
Nice.
The only way we qualify for state reimbursement to help out agriculture is to spend more money.
It's not just agriculture.
It's not just agriculture. It's all.
Well, your primary emphasis is toward
help is agriculture. We don't have
The question is, you're saying, both you guys just said.
Hang on a second. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Again, Ted, this goes back to my question before. I'm just trying to understand it. The old days, you guys used to have, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, A, B, C, all these different kinds of revenues.
Yes, we still do.
So now the state, oh, you still do?
Yep.
I was told we didn't have, at least I left the room that we weren't having that.
Well, they're there, but there's
probably only gonna be money enough to partially fund it this year.
Okay, but when I talk to my 44 buddies across the state, we talk every day by email. Most people have either left flat or cut their soil and water program. I just saw Seawolf County cut, another 50 grand out of cooperative extension yesterday. So if the money at the state level isn't eaten up in this aid program, what does the state do? Because I left the room, and I want to be corrected, that the money was then going to go to those other pots that we could access.
Right.
So why would we put more money if we know we're going to get money out of the B and C pots anyway?
Which we won't.
Okay, and now explain to me why. I'm trying to understand that.
Because if all the money that isn't doled out at the 60,000 program
Right.
will be rolled into the B program.
Okay.
Right now, at this funding level, there will be maybe $2,000 left in the B pot instead of the 6,000.
Okay.
So, and that's if other counties don't some way bump up their qualifying expenses to take advantage of the full 60 on the A program. We don't know how many counties right now will qualify for the $60,000.
Okay. And my research says not many. And I'm not saying that's fact. It's not fact. So I can't.
Yeah, I don't have that list with me now, but
There's gonna be a lot of them.
there's going to be a lot of it will.
Now you're talking, and again, this is another thing that confuses me.
Right.
Are we talking 2012 or are we talking 2013?
In order
No,
to get
I'm trying to be very
get your money in
careful.
2013, in order to get the full reimbursement, you had to have done 100. In order to get the 60,000 for next year,
Right.
you would have had to done 120 worth of technical assistance last year, shown expenses of $120,000.
And that was my question, you said no.
And you didn't. At this point, right now, you have
No, I'm trying to, so what we're saying is, yeah, that's a whole nother question. What I'm talking about is the 2013 county budgets. That's where I've seen the slashing for programs outside services. So that would be money that Ted would get in 2014.
13. The 47,000 that he qualified.
No, not that. What I'm saying is for 2013, all the counties in the state, I believe is going to be a reduction in soil and water. So they would be reimbursed in
We haven't seen it, but.
No, you wouldn't have seen it yet. I mean,
Okay.
people are just passing budgets as we speak. And what I'm saying, all I can do is read what they tell me.
Right.
So, okay, at least I understand now.
Ted, have you got a laundry list of those expenses?
A laundry list?
Of what qualifies?
Of what you actually spent in 2012?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's right in this budget.
So we technically
No, I don't mean it's in this one. I mean, item for item, where you work, what days, what hours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we have hour logs for basically every program we
And
have.
how much of that did they spend in 2012? Are you saying, what was that figure that you expended in 2012?
Our whole operating budget?
No.
The reimbursable amount.
No, that
Qualified expenses.
technical assistance thing, then?
Yeah.
That'd be 94
Would
and change.
be basically that $100,000.
Gotta be around 94, right?
It was 94 and change, because you got back 47, times them out. So we gotta add another 25 and change to get this.
25, 26, right? That's right.
Is that what your
For
budget
this
was?
year,
Yeah.
the next
That
day.
you raised your hand for?
That's why
I had this for a while.
Well, I just wanted to get
No,
you there.
Shoulder, I got a bad shoulder.
I wanted to get to you, then I wanted to get to John. John?
Ted, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but we were always told that in Herkimer County, farming is the biggest industry. In these other counties, maybe Jim, maybe you can answer this. The other counties that cut their budgets in regards to this here,
Farming's number one.
is farming number one in all those other
Not all
counties?
of them, most of them.
Most of them?
They're very similar to us, upstate rural counties. Because all the 44 guys that I talked to, John, are none of the city, none of Westchester, none of Nassau, Suffolk. And even those they have their farming.
Okay.
No, it's, people are struggling, John.
Yeah.
And counties are struggling with tax points.
Yeah, Vernon. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go to Bob.
Okay.
Ted, so what you're saying, your salary is not able to be put into the 140,000?
Yeah.
Not all of them, because if you did some main work, you couldn't.
Yeah, the aim portion, which I referred to earlier, would have to come off of that.
Is there enough work to get that up to that figure that you want to get up to? Did it get up to 60,000?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All we would have to do is get enough of a budget raise so the whole AEM amount can be focused on the AEM program. Rather than, like I said, Jerry and I actually worked $20,000 on the AEM program last year because of the emergency situation. And that worked as a double-edged sword. We made that, but that's why we only qualify for $47,000 this year.
Because you could only claim that
Once.
once. So you really doubled it, but you could only claim it once.
If you look at the description here of how you qualify, any money they earn under the AIM program, so if you don't have enough bodies to do the work or enough hours,
Guys,
you lose, you deduct that AIM money from the Part A amount.
Right.
Any state money, any state funds, you can't use them twice in your reimbursement rate. So.
But I understand what Jim's saying. If you don't, say if all the counties don't use this money, okay, they're gonna push it down to another fund, shall I say, or grant, shall I say, all right, and use it like the PDC and that.
But you gotta realize that if these counties,
nobody does it, it's gotta go down.
if they're getting their county's budgets, if the districts are getting their county budgets cut, they're gonna be looking to the state to fill that, so they're gonna be doing anything and everything they can to get that reimbursement rate back up.
They're all gonna spend $1 to get 50 cents?
They will try, yes.
so guys, I'm confused still, I apologize.
They bring a lot of,
No, I'm sorry, cut them off, I want you to finish.
no, I mean, the amount of money that they can qualify right off the top, any district can qualify from the state, would be the $60,000 for their Part A reimbursement. And then if they maximize their AEM money, that's another 40. So the district's bringing back $100,000 right away, if you have the hours. So,
So what you're saying, Ted, we're not in water for 2013, too late for 2013. You can't spend, can you spend $26,000 in 14 days?
Sure.
No, that's what we're talking, isn't that what we're talking about?
We talked about that possibility, Jim, of being billed for our health insurance and our set virus on paying those ahead. So then that would bring in that number 2 scenario, that would bring our qualification up to about $59,000 of that $60,000. So in essence, if you folks gave us $20,000,
and it's going to be moved to the state.
We would immediately get $10,000 of that back this year, that quick.
That hasn't been explained. At least I understand. I was trying to figure out how we can spend without.
Those 2 budgets in front of you to explain how the effect that would have.
Jim, don't forget the vehicle. They can buy a vehicle too and get half the money back.
What vehicle they need?
I'm just saying, if somebody needed a vehicle.
Okay.
Now, the vehicle, I'll be very honest with you, if, depending on what our appropriation is, we will have to sell our vehicle this year because we will make $10,000 profit on that vehicle through the reimbursement program. $12,000 of $47,000 that we're getting back this year are from the new vehicle we bought last year. You could make $40,000 in 4 years just by buying a new vehicle every year because those vehicles qualify for 50% reimbursement.
Only in government does that make sense.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense. Because we're able to buy vehicles off the state contract, and yes, I wish I could buy a vehicle off the state contract, but that's the way it is.
So if we don't change anything, and we do the same thing this year, we'll still be entitled to the $95,000 basically you spent this year. We will spend again next year, and we'll
Yeah, the program will be dead in the water because we used up what little bit of reserve we had this year to get us through. We've had a very successful year. I consider being eligible for 47 on reimbursement and 40 as being a very good year. That's $87,000 in reimbursement. that we're getting back into the county, and we got 109,000 from the county last year.
No, I think what I'm asking is a $60,000 reimbursement. If you don't make the 120 that you paid out this year, if you only came in at 100,000, you still get 50,000 back,
Yes,
correct?
we're at the 47 right now.
Right, I mean, they're not changing that column. All right. Thank you.
But we could change that figure by paying ahead right now on some expenditures. Which the budget you have before you, that shows our budget request would go from 162,000 down to 129,000 if we were able to, get paid ahead.
So it's going to leave us short next year.
There's enough other expenses next year that will offset that. Number one being the Part C is $12,000. The ADM program would be another $20,000. There's $32,000 right there that would offset that. And I know what you're saying is the farmers go and pay ahead on something and they never get ahead. But here, if we got paid ahead, there's two factors at least that would more than cover that.
So you want X amount of money this year?
That's a possibility, one of the scenarios.
Just real quickly to explain the reason they're behind this year. The law was changed just this year to increase the reimbursement from 30 to 60. So that wreaked havoc with a lot of districts' allocations about how they allocate their funds, where they're getting it from. So basically, they can't recoup that at such a short time. They just the governor just signed the law, I think this summer, Bernie, but I forgot what.
Ted, the expenses that you want to prepay, you're going to have to pay them anyway next year, right?
Yes, that's why it affects our budget request.
Paying them this year,
it does some.
By paying them this year, you're going to recover $14,000 more money for next year's budget than you would have.
Yeah, the reimbursement, you'll get half of whatever you put in right now today. So, and like I say, that was
so it's a matter of whether we lose 50 cents on a dollar next year.
No, it's not a matter of whether we lose 50 cents, it's a matter of.
He said you said yes.
We're losing it either way, Pat, because of the way the state system is.
But
Now
go ahead.
who created the program? And what happened? Was this a Sharpie move on the governor's part to put pressure on the county so he can save more money?
No, this has been in the works for quite a while. The districts have been asking to increase the cap for quite some time.
Yeah, but it's a punitive thing. They're losing the other grants.
No, it's just rolled over into different, it's a straight Part A. It's taking from B and C to put into A.
I'm just saying, from where I sit, this looks like a very punitive program to counties.
That's why I'm trying to figure this out.
Because what you're trying to do, the governor and the state legislature are saying, look at us, we're heroes. But now you counties, we bankrupted you with a Medicaid we have to charge. 250 stinking billion in the whole country, we pay 52 billion of it.
I can't get it.
But no, so they're being a hero by throwing this back on these guys and ladies to make a tough decision. That's the way I see it. And if somebody can explain why I'm wrong, I'd like to hear it. And that's got nothing to do with your proposal, but it's just the state against sticking it to us. No, it is.
Jim,
I mean, we're bad guys. We've laid off people every stinking day, Steve and I. It's not fun. It's not stinking fun, guys. And the state just keeps doing what they're doing to us. I'm sorry.
If you have to do sessions, you're not going to get worse.
We know that, and that's what I told the young lady on TV. What do you think Sandy's going to do to us? What do you think the fiscal cliff's going to do to us?
Well, the one surprised me yesterday was, well, the state is going to decide who makes sports smart and prudent and who doesn't.
Well, let's state this.
I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, you guys. It's got nothing to do with you guys.
Pat?
Yeah.
Jimmy, how do they get their appropriation? Half in January, half in July?
Usually, yeah. And if they need it earlier, we work with them.
I mean, if we gave them their full appropriation in January and decided on this in July, and can sometime between now and July, this whole thing become clearer, would that be a better way to go? I don't know.
What's the purpose?
I can't get my mind around this. You explained it twice, Ted. I can't get my mind around it.
If you're trying to move this to July, and you're looking for a recommendation from me,
Yeah, I know.
What I would do is cut their recommendation next year from 109 to 80 something, give them the $26,000 today, and then work through it as you go. That's gonna at least give Ted, I mean, it's gonna give us a little bit more time to try to figure out what the hell we need to do.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, no, actually, all I'm saying is move it up.
It's a different time factor, but it's different. It's the
Well,
same.
where are we getting the money?
Do you have anything in
Fund
contingency?
balance. Fund balance.
Is there anything left in contingency for 2012?
I'd have to check on it.
There is, there's not much ready to go to jail.
Well, we got money coming today, you'll see it. You know, the jails and staff and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'm just saying, if that's where Dennis was headed, that would at least help.
I'd like to see your laundry list of what your expenses were in 2012 that qualifies.
And how can make that better?
And how you can enhance that.
Right, what proposals, what can you do within the department to get more to qualify?
And what I don't understand too, Ted, is why doesn't what you and Jerry do qualify?
He does.
Then why can't that be sufficient without having another person?
Because you subtracted the AEM money off of that amount, Dennis.
Why?
Because we can't double dip.
It comes from the same source. It comes from the same source.
So it's an employment program.
Yeah, that's the way I took it the first time.
The only way you can get the money is to hire someone.
That's what the AEM program is designed for, and we've had an AEM assistant.
Well, AEM says agricultural environmental management. It says agricultural environmental management.
Yes.
That's what you've been doing ever since you've been there.
Yep.
So why doesn't that qualify?
Because
You're getting paid
it
for
does
that under a
qualify,
separate.
but I can't work twice for the same money.
I mean, just work once for that money.
Well, then, we're leaving that other money on the table then. It's like,
What's the reimbursement on that, 50/50?
Yes.
The aim?
No, AIM is 100% plus, it's $37 per hour.
So, but I don't understand why we leave
Is
it.
there enough work to justify another person? Just to get the 50 cents on the dollar? I mean, why lose the 50 cents if there's not enough work out there for them to do just to hire them to get the money reimbursed?
I would not even think of that if I didn't believe there's enough work. And the AEM program has generated a lot of interest in the county, and it's helped be successful with writing grants. We just completed a $100,000 project on a farm that we were successful in writing the grant. We got the money to do the project for them, and this farm generates over $1.5 million worth of milk into the economy of Herkimer County. You're getting so many dollars for every dollar that, we get from you folks.
They're generating 1.5 million, so obviously they do have some people they employ, but how are we getting $1 for that?
Well, of that 100,000, probably 60, 70 of it was paid directly to a contractor to go do the work on the farm.
And how much did the farmer pay?
At least 25% of that. In this case, it was more than that. The share was more than 20%.
Pat, really, Dennis did, I mean, I just think of it dollar-wise, and Jim and Dennis brought up a real good idea. I mean, the state, and we're talking about how the state holds back the money. Why couldn't we give them the 20, I mean, if we're giving it to them early, okay, it's not costing us any more money, all right? I mean, just think about this dollar thing.
Lower the budget.
Okay, lower the budget, okay, give them their money early. They're getting 50 cents on the dollar versus us losing 50 cents on the dollar for the next year. But what it's going to do, it's going to put your budget, it's going to put you, that you got to understand you're not going to get the full thing come next year because we're assuming that you're going to get a bigger grant, you know what I'm saying, reimbursement. I'm looking at dollars and cents.
Yeah, I mean, is that
legal? I mean, I want to know if it's legal.
Dennis, is that what I said?
Yes, I mean,
Sort of getting
if we can do that, you know what I'm saying? You had a great idea.
I'm just looking how we can fund this and then still get our mind around how.
Because even if we can, I mean, you can get what? If you spend 120, you can get 60, and you're only going to get 47. If we can give you the other money, if we can give you the 13 grand, to bring that up to 60,000, okay? So why wouldn't we give you that other, and just give it to you early? And then that way that can be put into your budget. The extra, 13,000 can be put into your budget for the next year, but you know you're not gonna get it.
Well, they get the reimbursement though, right?
Right, they're gonna get the reimbursement, yeah, but it's not coming from us though.
Yeah, but the problem is, guys, they lose $26,000 in appropriation, and only get $13,000 back.
Yeah, I mean, our budget, to
So
be
they
totally
pick up-
honest,
They pick up money, but they lose. Yeah, but it's not us losing it though, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm the one, I said it too.
Right, it's not us losing it. You guys will have to, come next year, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have the money up front. But next year, if you can't come to us and show you that you did $120,000 worth of work.
But if you gave them the money now, and they could do work and be able to get more revenue.
Right.
Through the grant. At least it might.
That's what I'm saying, Pat.
I'm having a hard time, I don't think.
I can put my hands around it if they can get the money back.
But I don't.
Pat, it's similar to running a business. And you want to avoid, say you had a good year this year, and there's money over here on the table, that by spending more you can get.
Right.
That's where this is at.
I understand that, but I've never spent $100,000 or whatever in business to get 50 grand.
Pat, would this allow,
We're subsidized that way enough.
would this allow them, though, over the course of next year, if you did it, to make whatever decisions they need to make to see that they get through the year, and if they don't, then...
That's what I said, that's exactly what I said.
Then they have to come back.
But they understand that there's no guarantee they can come back and get it, because we don't know what our situation's gonna look like.
They could leverage the money we give them now.
And it allows them to make those decisions, and the consequences will be theirs next year.
As Dennis and everybody's pointed out, then we understand what is paid.
And it's their consequence in how they're managing.
The worst case scenario is.
I want to hear from
$1,000 for $30.
I want to, does that make sense, Bruce and Bernie, to do it, give them money this year?
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, you have to understand what I'm saying.
And reduce the 2013.
Right, exactly.
And reduce the 2013. It makes sense to give money this year if that's what you want to do.
Well, I'm just saying it's saving them, I mean, it's not really saving them money, but it is saving them money. Because you're getting more money back. If we don't give it to them, we lose the reimbursement. 50 cents on the dollar.
The second scenario I gave you for that budget reflected doing just that, giving us some money ahead.
Right.
And that brought our request for our appropriation down to $129,000, which is an increase of $20,000.
From what we're giving you now, so you want to go from 190 to 120.
I mean, I consider that's a lot easier to swallow than,
Plus 26 up front, that's what we're looking for.
Plus 26
Well,
up
it wouldn't be 26, Jim, we've come up with.
Oh, okay, I thought we were at 47 then.
So is that, that's like,
Well, I'm just looking at the expenses that we might be able to make before the end of the year, but I think with the copier expenses and everything, we could probably make that. But what it does is, we've got this program going, very successful. Last year, we requested $128,000, and we got flat funded, as most everybody else did. And what that is doing is saying that if we had gotten our $20,000 for this last year, we would have been fine to be flat funded for this year. It's just, we need that $20,000 shot in the arm.
What date was that rule change to jump from 30 to 60? That was
Around August.
Yeah, August. You had to scramble from then till the end of the year.
Didn't get much
If you didn't have the money, you couldn't spend it.
so 60 grand is the most you can get, go max out at, right?
Well, you get 60, and then you get to 40 ADM, which is 100.
Right.
And that's gonna grow from now when they start getting extra money in to do part B and C. So I could see right now that turning into 130,000 within the next 2 years or so.
But I'm saying that.
How much
would you be eligible?
I'm saying
does the county have to spend to get 130,000?
Right now, I think that $129,000, we might be able to make it work. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to do.
Is there any way, Ted, that you and him can change your job thing so some of this other stuff that you do qualifies for you getting credit?
everything I do qualifies unless I spend it on other New York State grants or AEM. Everything I do could qualify for that, toward that $60,000.
Everything he and Jerry does.
Right.
But then, once you get to that dollar,
I'm just trying to figure a way to get up the more money on that, you know.
Now, there's a director's salary. How many directors are there?
5.
Is that by law, you have to pay directors? You know, Jim, is it by law you have to pay the directors in water and sewer?
Dennis might know.
Dennis?
Yep.
Do you know if you have to pay, there's a director's salary here, there's 5 of them?
Yes.
Is that by law you have to pay directors?
No, I don't believe it is. It's something that was set up years ago. I don't think it's been changed, the rate in forever.
What do directors do?
Monthly meeting.
Monthly meetings.
They have to sign off on stuff? Or I don't,
They sign off on all the vouchers, they keep.
I believe they get mileage too. Do you get mileage too? Used to.
Yep,
Do they still get mileage, Ted?
yes. I mean, but the whole thing doesn't amount to.
No, I know, 1,700.
much at all.
You're covering it all with 1,700.
I know, but, you know, there's ways of people volunteering.
How many directors are there? 5?
5. Farm Bureau, Grange, person at large, and 2 legislators.
Certainly nothing, really. $300.
Would they do it without it, do you think?
That's what I was curious about.
No, I say, would you think the people that you have are committed enough because they're advancing it to do it without pay?
I don't know. I'm just looking at budgets and seeing where money can come from.
Hey, I got a question.
You might have to pay them.
But, can a vehicle from Soil and Water get transferred to the county without any funds or anything? Say they had an extra one?
they have an extra one?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
The county was looking to buy some by the end of the year, I think, in some of our past discussions. That would be a vehicle for half price.
Can you do that when you bought it with federal money or whoever the money's coming from? Can you transfer like
You have
that?
to keep it for 1 year.
But are you obligated to sell it for a particular price or you can just sell it
No,
to,
it goes out to bid.
it has to go out to bid?
Yes. And we would not be able to sell this vehicle until March.
But you'd have to bid it. They'd be bidding against anybody else that wanted to bid on it, the county.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can't just transfer it to the county.
No, my question was to transfer one without selling it. Like, say they bought one right now, that
I would almost say you could probably do that. I'd have to look into that.
And we'll have to check.
Yeah, because a lot of times the districts put them in county auctions. If they don't put them out to bid, they put them in the county auction for discard.
No, I think the question was, could you take one of your vehicles, I don't know, I'm trying to understand now, take one of your vehicles and transfer it to the county?
That we'd have to check into. I'm not sure.
I can't imagine.
That would do the county a lot of good, but.
Our auditor's gonna give you a hard time.
I would hope so.
But that would be probably.
Because
That's why I still can't believe they're gonna let you pay for stuff in advance and write it off.
If it's an expense this year, if you pay the money this year, it's an eligible expense.
But is that considered an expense when you prepay something? I don't think so. Accounting-wise, it's an expense if you prepay?
We gotta have too many people chatting here, so. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna say this just in general, Pat. The number of farmers that are tripping over the borderline in the CAFO operations and need manure management plans and all this stuff is gonna require technical assistance. And this isn't, farm sizes aren't gonna get smaller. They're gonna get bigger, even the ones in Herkimer County. I mean, we're still shipping the same amount of milk we shipped 60 years ago. And we're doing it on 5% of the farms that we had 60 years ago. So there are laws in place. They're called CAFO, Confined Animal Unit operations, that the feds and the state require all kinds of plans and paperwork and stuff, and these guys are capable of doing it. So this entity's got to be viable in Herkimer County. I don't understand this. I'll be honest with you. I don't understand this. How this works, I can't get my mind around it.
Doesn't make sense.
The thing is, like Dennis was saying, though, once they get so many cows, then they're going into the CAFO program, and then there's all these requirements that they have to fulfill being part of the CAFO program.
But is it all the taxpayers within the county to subsidize that?
Yeah, that's how close the margin is on these farms.
Hello?
Once they trip into these new rules and regs, if somebody isn't helping them, it could be whether they stay in business or go out of business and stop operating.
Not only that, we're sitting here looking at, say the arms. I mean, we're there doing different things with the arms and whatever. But here we've got how many farm families, if you want to talk agriculture, that are, like Dennis said, they're ready to go over the edge, you know.
Well, 95% of the farms are not there, basically.
Why wouldn't I take it?
There's a difference between the economic impact on Herkimer County is as great as it ever was.
I understand.
And
Sure.
being one of the, if not the major industry in our
How many machine reviewers were in the county in 1980 compared to?
How many farmers in 1960 were buying $500,000 combines?
Right.
So,
Okay, well, that's a debate, I guess.
Dollars and dollars.
Al Purdy once
Do you have
said,
any
"You
other
get two
questions
farmers
for
to
these
do anything
guys?
over."
We got more to do, so do you have any other
Like the
questions?
drain problem at the bottom of college don't qualify on the section. The drainage problem was, you were involved in that at the bottom of college hill. Over here.
The emergency work that was completed?
Yeah.
That was a federal grant that did that, yeah.
But you were involved in that also.
Yeah, it certainly came through our office.
Are there any other questions for these folks? Okay, thank you. Yeah,
One quick
Vern.
thing. I know Chris stops by every once in a while, but I appreciate him coming in and hopefully helping us in the situation.
Thanks for understanding all of this.
As far as Jenny gets
Are we going to make a decision for them? Pat, where will the decision be made on this, their
We're
request?
gonna see where the committee's going right now. But I don't think we need you anymore, so. Do we need any more questions?
Well, I just hope you continue to see the value in your soil and water conservation.
Oh, we see value in every program we have.
I realize that, you folks are in a tough position.
That's right,
Appreciate you.
we are. Like
Thank
Jim
you very
said, we're
much for
laying people
entertaining.
off.
Thank you.
I told the people we laid off.
We're laying people off to stop them.
People gotta realize it.
We gotta get Dennis on TV going after the state. Now, here we are, we're fighting amongst ourselves.
We'll give you a pick.
We have no control over the dollars we spend. Serious.
I mean, I don't like the way the state is structured at all.
You know what they did here.
Yeah, sure.
They got sharp people in it.
Well, my suggestion is if you want to do that, we try to come up with it for this year so they can leverage that money. I'm not necessarily in favor, but I'm just saying, if you guys are thinking of it, to leverage that money for next year's budget. If I'm understanding this, am I understanding this correctly?
I think that's where the majority of us are. And we would try to, instead of giving them 109, right? Take the 26 away or 25 and change. Give that to them yesterday. Take that off the thing. They would at least be positive 13,000 for no extra money. Positive 13,000, and then I'm sure you'll be visiting this during the year.
Are you going to reduce the 2013 appropriation by the amount you're giving them this year?
Yes.
Well, that was one.
No, that's just
one.
one.
No, I see that, I see that.
Like Dennis said, that would give
I
you
see
time
that.
to understand, at least, you would save them at $13,000 for next year.
If you were
With
to
an
do,
opportunity to do more if things are better. Or
And plus, Jim, too, that would give it, see where the state is on that too, because if they're gonna have the different channels, then we'll know if the other counties jump into it.
But we're not making any revenues off of anything that they're doing, right?
But they
I
are
think
getting,
they've maxed out their revenue programs. They've maxed them out.
they're helping the farmers out with that. I mean, I understand the part of that.
Yeah, I understand all that too. I understand it all.
Right, I know.
but you know, we sat here today, Mr. Chairman, and we looked at the advertising grant for businesses, and I think Bernie makes a good point about the Remington Arms, or whether we're doing the Price Chopper. It's, if agriculture being an important industry, the suggestion of doing it this year, taking it out of next year, may delay the pain, or it may allow them to work on other solutions. I would think that we should do it as a testimony in support of agriculture.
But how much of it is, Helen, is agriculture? That's the issue. Isn't that a big issue?
But you know what, your timing is so critical, and if we do it and you take it out of the fund balance, don't you have timing to get it so that we can actually act on it during your emergency meeting on the 12th or the 19th or whenever you have to do it, because it's fund balance, you have to have so many days, or what's the,
Well, if nobody
if someone,
argues, we could do it that day.
don't you have to have pre-notice or
No, I-
unanimous consent because you're taking it out
Oh,
of
no,
fund balance?
absolutely. What I'm
Yeah.
saying though, they get one more day, we'd have to come back if somebody objected. Anyway, even if you gave proper notice.
They're guaranteeing though that if we give them the 26th, that they can sneak this through on the budget for 2012. They're thinking they can.
Some of it at least.
I think you should send a letter and ask the board of directors if they're willing to serve for recognition and not money too.
I was thinking it was 1,700 apiece, that's not what it is.
It's 1,000 apiece.
No.
Oh, no?
1,700 total.
$300.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was $100 a meeting. Oh, that's the other one. That's the way.
Gross.
Just so you know, that 109,000, their allocation didn't get them through this year. They had to take about 30 out of their fund balance. So next year, halfway through the year, they might be looking for more money.
I know, but everybody is.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, but the thing is, that we're giving them money in advance to have money.
But you're taking it out
the following
next year.
Right.
The thing is with that, when you take that,
They'll have to take their budget.
If that program fails, Mr. Chairman, if they don't get the money, that's just something you just lock the door?
No, I've seen more resources.
They would lay off at least one person, maybe two. You'd have just, you've got secretary treasurer. I mean, where it says on there the salary of secretary is 43. That's kind of a misnomer because she's also a treasurer that's endowed with money rights. But then you've got Ted, then you've got Jerry, then you've got this other guy that they've got that they want to retain to do the AEM.
Can anybody remember whether there were raises in there for these folks?
They've always mirrored CSEA. Yes.
But they're not obligated to?
No.
And they did?
They always have.
And they did for 2013, I guess.
That's what the statement was at budget time.
Yes.
so they said 30 to 40% of their work is farmers, the rest is private.
Well, they've done a lot of municipality work. Oh, yeah. I mean, Jay contacts them a lot for recommendations on
Is there any
CDs.
revenues that can be garnered?
Jay calls them on recommendation.
A lot of times on different things. He's consulted them.
Is there any revenues that can be garnered from any of that?
Well, I know now we're taking out one pocket thing and all those.
That's all them for.
No, not so much Jay, I'm talking about municipalities.
Yeah, I don't,
And is Jay doing any work for them that could be, covered within the?
Right, the 120,000.
I mean, as I said before, we can blow up our planning department here and have them do our ag district renewals and not have soil and water involved in that. They could get out of that business. I think they've been very, very comfortable to work with.
Well, what do you guys want to do?
Jim, can I ask a question? Jim, do you know if there's a cap on this? Like, if every county would have put in for the 120, is there a cap that sometimes be left out if they didn't get it in time? You know what I mean? Is there a limit to the money?
Not to my knowledge.
So technically, if we don't, I mean, we're still paying the money, whether it comes from my right pocket or left pocket. It's still coming out of one of our pockets. Whether it comes out, so I mean, I don't personally care if it's, if they need to work and we can justify the people, that's one thing. If we're just doing it to grab this money and we're paying it out of my left pocket to go to the state and then come back and the other half's coming out of my right pocket for Herkimer County, I don't see a reason to do that.
Well, and I think that was why they were proposing, people were proposing, giving them the money now to leverage, to see what they can create.
So that the program continue the AEM program and whatever else. Without it,
Well, still continue, you still get a percentage of the money, you just don't get it all, that's what they're saying, that's what he
But
said.
then all of a sudden AEM, and now we want to pay the benefits, and now we want to pay, so now we've created another amount.
All they did was enumerate qualifying expenses.
No, but based on more money, I think he made a statement.
Yes, he did.
Of all of a sudden wanting to be able to pay health insurance and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
To me, it just looks like it's just more government, but.
approach it as far as, see if that.
But that doesn't get any more work. I don't get any more work out of somebody if I give them $20,000.
Well, they're just looking to recover handles still be doing days. If they don't have money to spend, they can't get the $14,000 if they're available.
It's almost like putting your money in the bank this year and next year, it's still going to be there, but You're giving, they're getting a benefit from it.
No, it is not.
Put your money in the stock market, watch it go down and cash out.
50%.
No, but the thing is we're not giving them any more money. We're giving them money
Oh,
in
you're
advance.
talking about that one.
Right, we're giving them money in advance. It's not like we're losing anything on the thing. We've already
That's okay, that's fine.
That makes sense to get it in this year, and then next year we can evaluate it.
Start looking at it.
Okay,
Is that
well,
what we're doing?
I agree with that.
Is that what we're doing?
That's a no-brainer.
I'm ready.
so the motion's gonna be to fund them that amount of money.
What's the dollar amount
Up to 26,000
for 2012?
for 2012.
And that's appropriate, taken off
Up to.
2013, right?
Right, because I think it's a little bit less than that now. If you heard.
I don't think they can get all that.
But you just give me that, I'll sit with Ted, we'll have a number for you for next,
Well, it's up to.
See what's going on,
okay,
man.
okay, that's why I'm saying 26. Regular should be 25 and change.
You wanna move it?
Okay.
So we're gonna reduce their budgetary funding,
Corresponding reduction
corresponding reduction.
for 2013.
And then revisit it at some point in 2015.
Still be nice to see a laundry reserve.
I wanna see the laundry list, what project we did.
Right.
Who made the motion?
Bernie and Bruce, they're the directors.
Yes, let them.
Well, let's make sure they're okay with the motion.
Yeah, pardon? A date on your motion that we're gonna revisit it, March, April.
Can they vote on it, being that they're
Yes.
impacted financially, a $10 fee for their meeting?
Put it wherever you want.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I think we
No,
ought to put
seriously,
something
yes,
on or
that
else
it
we
should
won't
be,
do it.
it will be revisited.
Do they have a conflict in voting this out?
I'm only kidding for $10. Joking.
All right, then.
We have our attorney here.
I'll make the motion.
I withdraw.
How's my time? Have your ways and means.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bernie
We
and
have a
Bruce are
motion.
directors of soil and water.
We have a motion and a
They
second.
vote on a resolution authorizing an emergency appropriation for soil and water,
And their budget for next year.
and it's paid directors.
Bernie and who?
Bernie and Bruce.
You guys pay?
Yes.
They pay the
They
legislature?
get per diem.
Yeah.
Somebody else made.
Yeah.
You have to have two legislators anyway, so.
But it doesn't impact their $10.
No.
Either way, whether this goes through or not. it's still-
Well, it could, they could decide not to pay it
$10
if they don't get the money.
I don't, you want me to make it, I'll make the motion.
Yeah, make a motion.
Yeah. How's that? Jim Bono.
I withdrew mine.
Do they abstain from voting?
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I vote?
Are there any
Should
abstentions?
be allowed to vote, right?
Hang on. Hey, Bruce and Bernie, are there any abstentions?
Should we?
I'd have to research it. Sometimes there are exceptions in statutes saying, yeah, if the legislator serves on such and such a board, it's not a conflict for them to answer that.
Well, it can't, if they're already appointed to a board, how can it be a conflict?
Because it's a paid
Because it
position.
affects it may affect their.
I know, but is it, who put the, it's passed.
Yeah, let's go to number 11.
Let's go to the next item on the agenda.
Good question. I don't know the answer.
Approved budget amendment in public health nursing service for long-term care programs. What is that budget amendment?
This was too long.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna bring this up.
$2,400 for at-home care, $2,900 for Superior, $610 for Meals on Wheels, and $360 on healthcare monitoring system, and a corresponding revenue of $4,000. Again, this is that issue we've been talking about, you know, January 1st to January 31st.
Motion. Second. Any other discussion?
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. You got some transfers?
Yeah, Ray, can you help me?
Where's Bernie?
I gave him the day off.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the end of the year
I'm
transfer?
working too hard. And then I got more for you.
The end of the year transfers?
A lot of them. And then these are the appropriations.
We don't have a list, we'll tell you that, Jim.
Because I knew people would know.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry.
Jim, how much are we gonna try to accomplish in this special meeting? How much of this can you be ready for?
Holy man.
Get as much as you can.
Your call. We'll sit with Carol, and it's Jimmy's call.
Then makes the final one.
Because I wanted everybody to have them in front of it, that way if you have questions, it's hard for me to run through all of them. The first one is a letter from Tim with a bunch of changes.
What's the Steve?
No. Again, this is stuff we see every year.
This paper's very thin.
Nothing earth-shattering. I'll try to answer any questions. And then, you'll see the transfers from Bernie's. Again, I'll answer any of those questions. Majority of the first half of those are salary issues, and then we have some motor vehicles. You can see the $74,000 one. That's for the vehicles we were talking about earlier, for DSS and for probation. We'll be buying those out of DSS. And Tim will allow probation to use those. Again, I'll answer any questions that people have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
A lot to absorb. The letter on the salaries and the general fund balance to jail salaries, $85,000, is that overtime? Or is that, I'm talking the letter, Bernie's November 19th letter that starts with...
Yeah, the majority of that is overtime. Yeah,
So the 200,000 is the boarding?
What's that?
The 200,000 is the boarding?
That's coming up in the next, that's the appropriations.
What are we doing first?
Which one are you?
I don't mind doing that. Yeah, we're adding another $200,000 from the general fund balance to boarding out.
Do we expect that to cover us through the end of the year?
We were told that will be very close.
Yeah, good question.
Pretty close to 1.4 and change.
It's 7 cells disabled for majority of the year.
It's still disabled.
Do we still have any idea when the time?
Roll them every day, Chris parks them every day.
What are you talking about, the locks?
Yeah.
The, yeah.
I guess we probably should have thought about that earlier before we did that, huh?
Yeah.
The $58,500, Mr. Chairman, is the buying the vehicle. What's the $15,000?
I'm sorry, where are we, Helen?
The letter that's the $58,000 to Sheriff Motor Vehicles. Is that to buy the car?
Yes.
What's the $15,000?
Gotta find it right.
Contingent account, right underneath it, the same letter.
That's the sheriff's salaries.
So we've got $100,000 in salaries in the Sheriff's Department.
Right, 115 in the sheriff and 85 in the jail.
Why the sheriff? What's the thing that caught us by $15,000?
I'll have to get that for you, Helen.
Okay.
Going broke, being safe.
For safest people.
Okay, any other questions? What do we do?
You want to combine with that? Yeah. Seems like no better problem with that.
So move all of them.
Then you're okay with combining appropriations and
Yes.
transfers?
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks. All in favor?
All right.
Just a question.
Carried.
Will this exhaust the contingency account?
I think we have about 30,000 in there.
Okay.
Which we probably will be looking to use for...
Soil water.
Okay, re-levy unpaid school, village and county taxes, need a motion.
I got the list, so move. Can you give me a comparison, Jimmy, for last year?
Absolutely.
Is there a second?
Can we see that list? Can I have a copy of that list?
Second, Kurt? Yep. Thank you, Kurt.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve consolidated health taxes.
So move.
Usual suspects.
Any other discussion? We got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve a memorandum of understanding.
Okay, should we go into executive
Yeah.
session, or? I'm looking at Rob and Steve.
Can we do the gas card thing?
I believe you can.
Bruce called me the other day, and he got a phone call from the supervisor, Francis Donnelly. from the town of Russia had some questions in regards to whether we could do some piggybacking with gas cards. Is that the?
Yeah, they got, the gas man, I think, is the company, but one of the gas companies was a low bidder, and when she was getting ready to sign the contract, they told her if she could piggyback with the county, she could save 4 cents a gallon on all her purchases for the highway garage. And they're different, and since then the school wants to do the same thing if they can. So they called Bernie, and Bernie said it needs to get approved through here.
Is that to let them access our contract?
I think that's a great thing, with all the new rules that have been passed at the state level.
Can we do that with all schools?
Sure. Yeah.
That's to allow them to access our contract?
Yes.
We can just.
That's a good thing.
I wonder if they look at the state
Can we
contract.
do a blanket on that, Jim?
Yeah, I don't know why not.
Whatever
You
you
know?
like, I looked around, but I think
Sure.
whatever you're comfortable have, like, you know.
I mean, with all the schools being in trouble, what can
It
we
doesn't
just?
cost us anything, it saves them money, right?
Correct. Just a little bit up front with Bernie, very little.
And we,
Nothing.
Jim, we stay and compare ours to the statewide contract at the same time,
We
just
go
to
back
see.
and forth. We have the ability to do both, Alan.
So the school systems or anyone else accessing ours should recognize that it's not always ours. The other one could be better too.
And I'd have to talk to Bernie about that.
So we want to do a motion here to allow
Blanket, right?
Any municipality or school district?
Do we have,
School district?
within Herkimer County.
do we assume any liability of them paying their bills
No.
with our contract?
So municipality, consider municipality, Jim?
Yes. All of ours are.
Could the county attorney just verify our contract does
Can we
see?
just hold on a second? I can't hear 5 minutes.
I apologize, Skylar's private.
But Skylar buys their gas through the town. So if the town was part of that, Skylar would reap the benefit anyway.
Well, we can, is that a fire department municipality? That was
Fire departments
Districts,
are a couple of
probably.
different things. Fire districts are municipalities, fire departments are not.
So mine's.
We got ambulance corps also that roll back.
I can make the language as broad as you want. Municipality, school district, or municipal
Why don't you make it broad?
or municipal related entity.
Again, what we can contract, we gotta check that.
Yeah, we have to check our contract. I don't know if there's gonna let anybody in.
If they do, is there any benefit to us?
What?
Any benefit to
Oh,
us?
5%?
similar to the like salt contract.
Yeah, you know,
To Vegas.
Because we're going to be asking the contractor to bill these people.
Absolutely, we don't wanna get in the middle of that stuff. Because then we'd be asking for half a body.
This is diesel too, right? This is gas. That's mostly diesel.
I want to be careful.
Yeah.
Bernie's gonna take 10 minutes around to coordinate this.
And why would the contractor say, I'll bill all these
He's not gonna spend a lot of
multiple
time, but he is gonna, could somebody say, oh, no, you're actually
No additional outside costs.
additional cost or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No additional outside costs.
Mr. Chairman, do we still have to go back and recover the tax, Jim, or do they bill us pre-tax? At one point, you used to have to file to gain the tax back.
Yeah, I'll check with Philomena.
This would be a nice gesture to make up for 1% we took away from them.
I'll make a motion, Pat.
The 1% that
They're lucky they had it as long as
the
they
county needed.
Let's not get into that.
You brought it up.
We'll move forward, I got something to say.
Second.
I'll second.
Ray and Catherine.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Just Steve and Rob.
Oh, that's right, we got that. Motion to go into executive session.
And the reason?
CSCA
Contract?
agreement.
This is negotiations?
Collective bargaining and negotiations. And litigation.
All in favor?
Who made it? Ben?
I second.
Dennis and Chris.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, we need a motion for the memorandum of agreement. Motion. Kurt? Is there a second for that? Second. Bruce? All in favor? Aye. Bruce? Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, that's okay, I was trying to be polite and wait.